Today's video is about reconsideration of original character fallacy, or also known as OC fallacy. First, let's talk about it a little bit before getting into reconsideration about it. So, is original character fallacy in any of the rulebooks of the known battle wikis like Versus Battle or Character Stats Wiki or any other battle wiki page? Nope. It is not under the fallacy regarding posts nor mentioned in any other battle wiki pages. So does that mean this fallacy is garbage? Partly true and partly false. The fallacy is for sure not mentioned under any notable websites. But you have to understand that we are talking about a website page talking about scaling fictional characters and not some professional institute. None of these websites that you refer or see are some official and absolute pages regarding scaling. These websites are made and regulated by random people on the internet through an app called Fandom, which allows making these wiki pages. Similarly, the rules written on there are not the absolute and only rules considered while scaling, and plus that as it's a fandom wiki page, any person on the authority can add or delete rules easily as well. And plus that there are tons of battle wiki pages out there. So out of them, different people use different systems and scales, and therefore there are different rules followed by different scalers. So it's also completely subjective. From person to person it is different based on their opinions. There is no absolute or complete book of rules. The only thing matters is that the rule should be sensible and hold some purpose for existing and agreed by a group of people and used. There is no requisite that it should exist inside a particular rulebook or anything to be used in debates. And I will say it again. We are talking about scaling fictional characters and not about the constitution of a country or anything. There are no rigid or concrete rules. All you need to follow is sensible and logical rules. Nothing else. Regardless if it is in the rulebook or not. There is no official platform for scaling related stuff. It's all completely opinion-based. So there is no official page or site here. It is completely based on beliefs. So, regardless if OC fallacy is in the rulebook or not, it sincerely doesn't matter one single bit, as literally whatever you see here is not some piece of official rules or laws. These are all opinion-based stuff. So in the grand scheme of things, none of this shit matters. But what does matter while considering a fallacy is, if it is an actual fallacy or not. And the answer to that is as follows. A fallacy is something which renders an argument invalid and basically creates problem in fair comparison and debates. And does original characters being considered for power scaling cause these problems? For an answer for that, first let's understand which characters are we referring to when we are talking about original characters. An original character is a character originally written by an author through his own idea. And by that definition, it would include all the characters that exists except for plagiarized works. So if that's the case, then do all the characters fall under this fallacy? Nope. The thing is, some of these original ideas gets officially published and verified by labels and are recognized as an official work or official character. These type of characters are considered for power scaling as the verse that they come from are verified, have some standard of writing. The information regarding these characters are available through a quick Google search. They are known and recognized at some level, and they are made not with the singular purpose of power scaling. And now, have seen some of these stupid comments saying that if that's the case, then verses like DC, Marvel and others who were focused on creating overpowered verses should also be not scaled. And to you, you stupid fuck, there is a big difference between an overpowered character and an overpowered character in terms of power scaling, and plus that Marvel and DC have been creating strong characters even before power scaling was even a thing. So before arguing something have basic capability to understand a proper sentence and then come to argue. Moving on, so there are a lot of original characters still left, even after separating official character from the group. The ones we are referring in this fallacy are characters made with the purpose of power scaling, so it automatically ignores the rest which have other purposes. And so now let's talk about these specific characters that we are referring to and why these characters are not to be used for power scaling. These group of characters basically include non-canon characters, fan canon characters, and unpublished characters with power scaling related objectives. There is a reason why we don't consider these characters against official characters, as the official characters and these non-official characters both have different purpose and different standard. The logic behind it is similar to insider trading, if anyone is aware of what that is. In simple terms, cheating your way to the top. If an author is aware of scaling tiers, terms and stuff related to the system, then he can just simply make a verse which would topple the tiering system and destroy all the other characters with ease. And if there is also no need for publishing the verse as an official work or any other such criteria, then these authors can literally just jolt down a blog post talking about some random character, tossing around some high-tier terms, and effortlessly write high-scaling characters. So, basically no standard of writing, no effort, no time invested, no purpose, and purely made for the sake of power scaling. And yet, these verse would destroy works which took thousands of hours of efforts, time invested, and hard work, by literally doing nothing, which is extremely unfair. I want you to think about this, and tell me whether you agree with letting this works be compared with these official works or not. And I personally disagree with considering these characters while comparing and in debates against official characters. But I have no problem if these characters are compared with others of their own kind. And now that we have talked about OC fallacy, let's talk about the reconsideration about it. So previously, those characters which are not officially published and have intent of power scaling, or the author being aware of power scaling, were considered under the OC fallacy. But after thinking about it, I think this is extremely restrictive and kind of ruins the fun. And I think it's none of mine or any other person's right to command the purpose that an author wants to make their verse for or not. It's completely their choice. If they want to include these aspects in their story, then they are allowed to do so. So in this reconsideration, I think regardless if a verse is made by a power scaler with or without the intent of power scaling, they should be scaled if the story has a decent enough story along with it. And if this requirement is fulfilled, the verse would be considered for power scaling even without it being an officially published work. This could create some problems, but the main objective of this is promoting creative and well-written projects. So the characters, even unpublished, would be considered as long as they have a decent story, regardless if they have an intent of power scaling or not. But let me remind you one thing. Those characters who are solely made for the purpose of power scaling would still not be considered for power scaling for the obvious reasons, but rest of all would be considered. So this automatically rejects my previous video regarding Orin. So Orin is back, and many other OCs which were previously not considered will also be reconsidered and brought back into the game. And also note this is my reconsideration of the original character fallacy. And I am not the creator of this fallacy. And as I said earlier, this entire thing related to scaling and debating are based on different opinions. So you are allowed to always agree and disagree with things based on your beliefs. So it is completely on you, whether you agree with this video or not. But at the end of the day, we are talking about scaling powers of freaking fictional characters. So there is no need to think this deep for such a goofy topic.